guys, and welcome to Ranpo Kitan's 9th episode. Man, I'm so happy to be able to bring you this. On the day, basically, it's out, or technically, you could say it's out yesterday, but it came out very late, so I couldn't watch it and bring out the review. And yeah, I actually feel very great about bringing you this. This feels so much better because, uh, yeah, it's nicer because then this it feels better. I don't know why. I really is happy about this, and also I'm really happy about this episode because I don't know who wrote Ranpo Kitan. I am not sure, but I seem to recall that it's the same writer as Danganronpa, and if that's true, I really love that guy. I love the guy who made Danganronpa, and I love this guy because you recall that I said that episode 6, 7, and 8 was kind of boring compared to 1 to 5. But with this episode, it all makes sense why they did it this way because they are really smart. Because they made us think, oh, just another boring episode. With this one, because we basically had our expectation so low, and then they bring in like an episode. It's like watching Danmachi's 8th episode again. I was like, is this the same series? Because this episode was so amazing. Parts of it was because. Let us start with the first thing. We have been told by Akash, or shown you remember the Dark Star formula that Akashi talked about in the previous episode with his friend, that him and his friend Yamakoshi had worked together to make. We see this formula, and he shows it to Kiriyoshi and Hasahabe, and he tells them that this formula is what created 20 faces, and it can predict crimes. I'm not sure if it can predict all crimes or only crimes related to 20 faces, because if it can predict all crimes, then it's an amazing formula. But Akashi, he can't get it to work. So Kiriyoshi and Hibahashi, they agree to help him, but they have different approaches. Kiriyoshi, he stays all day long and doesn't even go to school. Then we have Habahashi, he goes to school. And it's actually the answer to why the Dark Star formula doesn't work is simple. Because, as Kibayashi says, this formula doesn't contain your basically your actions. And I would think that you would be a very important person to Namakoshi because what is called, yeah, he was like a friend to you, and that is actually what cracks it. And he then is able to predict that there will come a phone call from 20 faces, inform them about the crime, and it's correct. Or rather, 20 faces inform them that a crime he will do a crime in a week. And of course, now that they have cracked it, they can figure out this formula, and they can make it so it happens. Or if it, or how shall I say, basically, they can make it so so the 20 face doesn't, commit the crime. They can basically stop it, prevent it. But this is actually not the interesting part. There's a little part I will talk about that could have great effect later on, and that is that Kibayashi, after he has solved it, he is telling this basically to us, the viewer, but he is then interrupted in the monologue and by Hibahashi that tells him that he didn't come to school that day, and Kibayashi didn't really have a reason not to go to school. And this is not, of course, the interesting part, because during the conversation, uh, Hibahashi, he changes from, a illustrated person to a silhouette, and it's not only for our perspective; it's actually from Kibayashi, because he does like something so we can see that it was from his view that we got it. So I wonder, can that mean that Hibahashi, he is going to become non-important, since it seems that all the unimportant characters doesn't get any uh, illustration, or basically animation, if you will call it, until it's needed? Or could it mean that he goes away, or has the formula affected Kibayashi somehow? I really wonder, because it seems to be connected to that. But let's get into the interesting part that made me like, oh my god. And that is that the crime that will be committed is a doctor that has he's basically like receiving a prize because he's like basically what's called, he's like setting a stopper for the illegal, basically like using stuff gained through illegal ways in operations. But he has a dark secret, and that is that he um, he used some I cannot call it. I think it's called Tatabur Mura. I'm not sure what it is, to basically operate on a boy, which caused him to get a disease. And this, shall we say, of course, the sister, she's getting sad over it, but yeah, the boy don't want her to suffer. So even though she finds like proof in the medical record that he did, it's getting swooped under the roof, and she, of course, breaks down and cries. And the boy, because he don't want her to cry, he commits suicide, or at least I think that is what it is. I can't recall if it said suicide or if he died of the disease. So you can, of course, the sister is, of course, angry, and she is the 20 faces. But when she removes the mask, I'm shocked, because I know I haven't talked much about her, or if at all, but you remember the girl who does like show how all the victims is killed, like in the, like being crossed by those mannequins. Minagak Minaki, she's called. She has 20 faces, and I'm really surprised, because I thought she was just like, she didn't really exist in the series, or she I'm not basically she didn't really exist in the series. I thought she was basically like just some fun thing that was like brought up to bring a little comedy to this dark series. But it turns out she is, and it's also funny because when she called what she called Akashi, she said that she is very close to him, and this of course makes sense, because since she does all the reconstructions, she is actually very close to him, so she has like a lot of information about him. This is really amazing. But yeah, and the way she kind of want to kill the doctor is that she has changed the food to basically infected the Dabamura thing. I'm not sure what it is. Sorry about that. But she and yeah, that would of course have killed them because of the infection. It would have caused, because it apparently is very poisonous, even injected orally. But luckily, Akashi had already seen this and changed the food to non-poisonous. So yeah, so of course we think, okay, the doctor may escape, but the what's called Minaki has already taken this into action, that this would happen, and shows him a live feed that reminds us of. You remember that Nimekoshi, uh, he basically cell emulated 3 years ago on a bridge, and it's basically like a reenactment of this, basically seeing him standing there, and we see Akashi rushing to him, to this person who looked like Namakoshi, and he is basically like having a lighter, and he's basically putting on another one as basically another lighter, and then he pushes it, and it's basically causes a domino effect that creates a picture of a butterfly, which is, I think it's the symbol of this series, and also crushes the Doctor by having what's called, a light basically fall onto him. A candelier, a candelier basically crushes the Doctor, but it's not that is interesting, because 20 Faces take off the mask, and it's Namakoshi. He is freaking alive. He's freaking alive, and he says something that is really interesting, because he says to Akashi that what what is called the dreams he has is the real world, and the things he he has basically like his dreams are the real world, but his the awakened world is just a dream. And now 20 Faces has become real, and I really wonder, what can that mean? Can that mean that 20 Faces? I really don't get it. Actually, I don't get it, because was this all a plan for Namkoshi? So he faked his own death, which would cause uh, Akashi to uh, basically perfect the formula and complete it. So, so yeah, I really wonder. I really wonder what this will happen, because what does this mean, man? I'm really like, I'm lost for words. I don't know. I really need to watch the next episode, but sadly, there's a week now to it. So until then, man, I can only sit and think about what all this means. What does all this mean? But yeah, I don't know. But well, maybe some of you guys have some information, or have an idea. So, which you, of course, is welcome to share, because I love reading comments from people, and it's because sometimes actually I get information that I didn't know, like Bikini Warriors. I am being informed that Mage most likely have a figure, so I most likely have to go look for that one. But well, until next time, see you guys. Have a good day, good night, wherever you are. Cheers, guys.